Hey, it's a dark episode for August the 25th, 2021. Um, let's talk about the non-existence of God. Maybe, maybe not. I was, I was, I was, so I was listening to a podcast, um, Thousand Movies podcast, where the fellow Alex, was talking about a newspaper article where a comment thing of like, you know, with all the horrible things happening in the world, isn't it about now? It's probably time to like, start believing in God, which is like, that's an interesting jump, as Alex points out. Like, there's been the coronavirus, there's been the fall of Afghanistan, there's the Haiti getting hammered yet again after the first after it's just natural disaster after natural disaster, hammering the poor island. Um, you know, it's like you're going to, and I'm taking this. I think about this in terms of, and Alex was like, well, all this horrible stuff is happening. It's like, well, that would be like a really bad God, or a God that was pissed off at us because maybe we're doing the wrong things. We should look at the good book, and does the good book says you should be buying condoms, and all the different various things that Christianity has kind of tramped down on. Or you think about the Taliban, like letting women have rights or something like that. Is that what you're trying to imply in that? Is like it doesn't actually assign that to the author of the opinion piece, but it's like you could kind of make those inferences from it. Of course, I've just finished reading The Man from Glengarry, which is all about the fear of God and about damning you to hell if you don't, accept Jesus Christ into your heart, and all the evil, sinful things that you're doing. So that would be that would be a kind of a worldview that would say, of course, there's terrible things happening because we're all horrible sinners. Though, you know, I far more go from the universe is a meaningless. Is We project meaning onto the universe. The universe just is. We fit into this world because of thousands and millions and billions of years of evolution. So it's not that we fit in. It's not that everything's been created for us, but that we slot in our way. And I mean, things continue to evolve. We're liable to turn our planet into such a horrible place that we won't fit in anymore, and we'll all die off. And whether that's a vengeful God or just the revenge of 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 um, evolution, I guess we'll see. Um, um, you know, you know, I kind of dispensed with God a long time ago. Uh, Whether I ever really had it in me, I don't know if I did. My parents were not religious. They took me to, my father took me to a Scottish church, I think once. I get a lot of my religion through reading literature and then kind of going back and reading the Bible to kind of get the biblical allusions in literature from past eras that were deeply religious, and it imbues um, the literature I read now. As you know, I've been talking about The Men from Glengarry. It's like this is a book that I don't think it's got particularly deep Christianity in it, but it does have a form of very kind of earnest Christianity in it. And it's like, wow, this was a permeating worldview not that long ago. Um, but I think that I I think that I don't think there's a God, but I do think there's a lot of people who believe in God, and that affects my world, and it behooves me to know about that. And also, I guess I'm someone with an imagination, so I can imagine a lot of stuff. Um, Imagining, though, isn't the same as imagining. Telling stories isn't the same thing as believing in, literal truths. Though, you know, there can be a thing of like, there's the kind of a mythopoetic view of world religion that like maybe more sophisticated people, think this is a filter which I can put across existence, but I'm not going to mistake the filter for existence. I mean, you can say that about science, about how we use science to explain things. It's like we come up with theories, we come up with explanations, but we're constant in science. You're constantly testing. You're supposed to be constantly testing them. So, well, scientists are, not me, are supposed to be constantly testing them. I don't know. I am just rambling. This is why I don't talk about the non-existence of God, because, you know, it's just a gobbledygook. It's just a gobbledygook. To be honest, that's all it is. I believe that other people believe, and I believe that such is the power of belief, that when people believe stuff, it can really affect realities, and it can affect realities for even people who don't believe. Just ask people who are suffering under the Taliban's belief now, or the belief of various American administrations, what they believed in communism, in the coronavirus, in what they it all gets you in the end, and you got to deal with. And I mean, we've got to deal with people who don't believe that they should take the vaccine, and how that is going to, how that's going to, that belief, like, they're worried, whatever, about the vaccine. Their belief is going to affect how I live my life for the next while, because we just haven't had, we don't have the numbers to squash this out. It's going to continue. All right. God. Okay. This is just a complete waste of an episode of Dark. But, it was bound to happen once after 300 episodes or whatever of yakking on darkness. I will leave it there. Videos later. Holy crap.